For step 1, I have drawn the wildflowers and I'm masking out all of the white flowers. I've sketched out an outline for the wildflowers with an HB pencil onto cold pressed watercolour paper, and as you can see I put some washi tape around the border. I dipped my brush into hand liquid soap to protect the brush while I'm using the masking fluid, and I'm just masking out the white wildflowers. I'm stippling the white wildflowers with a liner brush, which is a long thin haired brush. It's a synthetic brush, and I'm actually sort of masking out thin stems here as well, and then stippling again small little dots to create the texture for the wildflowers. So I will continue on masking out the white wildflowers and actually masking out some of the light stems. Now you don't have to copy the photograph exactly, you can give your interpretation. So feel free to have a little spatter as I'm doing here and maybe paint in a few more stems with masking fluid. And I'm going to allow the masking fluid to dry naturally. If you apply heat to masking fluid, it can be very tricky to remove. For step 2, I am going to paint light washes for the cornflowers and the background wet into wet. The masking fluid has dried and I am mixing up some colours for the cornflowers. I'm using cobalt blue and permanent rose, about 50-50. You don't have to paint exactly the same colour that's in the photograph. This is a little bit more of a sort of blue violet here, so I'm using ultramarine with the permanent rose with a pinch of cobalt blue. So I am wetting the paper with a large flat brush. Take your time doing this because this will give you more time, because the water will soak into the membranes of the paper, keeping the paper damp for longer. So I have loaded my brush with a blue violet. Using my size 6 brush, I am painting damp into wet. The difference between damp into wet and wet into wet, if my paintbrush was as wet as the paper, the paint would really run and you would lose the sort of shape of the cornflower. So while the paint is damp, it kind of keeps its shape, but you get a lovely sort of soft, natural looking edge. So I'm having fun here, kind of stippling on sort of different size cornflowers. So the ones in the distance towards the top of the paper there are smaller and paler. So you might want to dilute that colour with water, and the ones sort of nearest to us at the bottom of the paper will be sort of slightly darker, bigger and sort of more richer in colour, and that will create the illusion that they're nearest to us as well. So I'm just adding a little bit more blue at the bottom of those foreground cornflowers there to create depth in the painting, keeping the ones in the distance much paler and of course much smaller. Still using that size 6 brush, mixing up a little bit more of the ultramarine and permanent rose and just adding a slightly stronger tonal value to those middle ground going into the distant cornflowers there, still keeping them nice and small, and then adding slightly thicker permanent rose here with the cobalt blue or ultramarine, and just adding this sort of darker value just at the bottom of the cornflowers. If you look at them in the photograph, they are darkest at the bottom. So I'm continuing here, just adding that little bit of dark, sort of coming from the foreground up into the middle ground there, damp into damp. So the surface is now not as wet as what it was when I first wet it. And I'm just using a small round brush here just to kind of disturb some of the paint on the foreground cornflowers there to create lighter petals just here and there to kind of shape them a little bit, adding more detail. And now I'm adding a sort of a light green colour, mixing up Hansa Yellow Light with a little bit of phthalo blue. You can use cerulean. And I am painting damp into damp using my size 8 round brush. And just quickly applying this very sort of yellow green damp into damp with that size 8 brush, but not touching or trying not to touch the cornflowers. And because the surface is damp, you won't get any hard edges with the greens there. But try not to touch the violet, because what happens is when a sort of green or a yellow green touch that violet, you might get a little bit of a muddy colour. It's just to lay down this lovely light sort of colour to begin with as we build up in watercolour, working light to dark. So I'm going to mix up a slightly richer green, slightly stronger, using a little bit of the Hansa Yellow Light, some raw Sienna and a little bit of sap green. I've loaded my brush, my size 8 brush, and I am painting damp into damp still in the sort of foreground and middle ground area. So keep loading that brush and sort of paint sort of marks that sort of resemble leaves or stems, etc., and kind of fill in those gaps. So you've got the very light sort of yellow green underneath, and now this is sort of starting to get to a sort of mid green. So just adding a few more marks here, varying my marks. I've swapped to a Rigger brush, load the brush and just painting damp into damp, but thinner lines. There's lots of stems in this photograph, and I love sort of painting things like this because you can really put your own stamp on it and make it your own. Have fun with it using these techniques. I've swapped back to my size 6 brush and just adding a little bit more of this sort of mid green here and there, making smaller marks as I go off into the distance. I'm going to allow my painting to dry once more. For step 3, I am masking out the cornflowers using masking fluid with my size 8 brush. It is an old size 8 brush, and I have coated it in hand liquid soap to protect the brush while I'm using it. So don't rinse the brush while you're using the masking fluid, because it will rinse off the soap. So I quite like this size of brush for these sort of size of flowers as well. So I'm sort of loading the masking fluid and just applying it very gently to the dried paint. Remember, watercolour doesn't dry permanently, so if you sort of apply the masking fluid or paint on top of dried watercolour paint and you're a little bit rough, it can disturb the paint underneath. So go very gently and glaze it on, almost hardly touching the paper, but covering those cornflowers with the masking fluid. And the reason why I'm doing this is because it will allow me to be really free with the background again. I can just apply the greens or different greens, but I'm going to use lots of different brushes as well to get sort of different marks, etc. So I'll talk about that later. But as you can see here, just sort of finishing off applying that masking fluid. I've swapped to a smaller brush just to mask out some of that light green paint as well, to create the look of long, thin stems. And I'm going to allow that masking fluid to dry naturally. For step 4, I'm going to mix up a variety of greens, use a variety of brushes, and paint the background, middle ground, and foreground. So I've mixed up here Hansa Yellow Light, Phthalo Blue, and some Quinacridone Gold to make a sort of light to mid green. This is Phthalo Blue with the Quinacridone Gold, so it's a darker green. And I've also added some Paynes grey to make it darker still. And I'm using a Reservoir brush to apply sort of long, thin stems. So it's like a rigger inside a sort of a round brush, and the round brush element holds lots of paint, and the rigger paints these amazing thin lines. So it does take a little while to get used to it and practice with it, but it does create some fantastic effects. And I'm just sort of painting long, thin lines in the foreground, wet on dry. So just load your brush and just sort of create these sort of different long, thin marks and have fun with it. It's almost a third of the painting here in the foreground. And I'm sort of crisscrossing and sort of painting these stems here using that brush. Next, I'm going to use a Swordliner brush. So it's a sort of long, sort of flat head brush, and the hairs have been cut at an angle. So as I load the brush, you get similar effects to the Reservoir brush. But what I find really lovely about using the Swordliner brush is you get these really sort of wider sort of stems or leaves at the bottom as you press. And then as you lift off, you get lovely long, thin marks here, which is what I've got there. So you can really sort of practice using these two brushes to get these lovely marks, and they're great for sort of painting stems and leaves in fields, etc. So I'm sort of going a little bit shorter now as I go to the middle ground, slightly lighter and sort of almost less detail as I graduate to the background. Everything gets paler and smaller and less information, and it just creates the illusion of depth. And that's why I love painting, especially in watercolour. You're sort of creating a bit of magic. So mixing up here a little bit of sap green, quinacridone gold, using my liner brush, which is a long, thin, sort of synthetic head brush here. And I'm just adding some sort of thin stems. I'm also using that darker green, the Paynes grey, phthalo blue, Hansa yellow light, and maybe a little bit of quinacridone gold. But you can vary your greens, remember. So I'm just adding this detail just quickly with my brush, my dancing brush, onto the wet surface here. And mixing up a light green now, Hansa yellow light with a little bit of cerulean, painting smaller, kind of paler marks as I go off into the distance there, using that liner brush. I've swapped to my round brush here, and I'm literally just covering and painting over the top of those cornflowers. Remember, they're protected by masking fluid. So without any sort of mark making now, I'm just painting a pale wash over those cornflowers and adding a little bit of cerulean now to cool those colours down to create even more distance. So it's a very, very diluted cerulean blue right at the top there, and just softening that with a clean damp brush. Going back into that mid and darker green with the size 8 brush, adding some sort of darker sort of marks here. I'm actually painting over the white flowers and underneath. I really want those white and light flowers after I remove the masking fluid to really stand out. So I'm exaggerating them. So getting lots of that yummy darker paint there, pretty much painting damp into damp now to sort of really highlight those flowers once I remove the masking fluid. Adding a little bit of cerulean here and there as well with that sort of mid-green. So really varying the sort of shapes. They're almost kind of like negative sort of darker shadow sort of shapes in this gorgeous wildflowers field. But remember to vary them and vary the colours as well. So again, mixing up cerulean with a little bit of yellow and quinacridone gold here. I'm painting some stronger sort of shapes in the foreground using my size 12 mop brush. So big marks in the foreground here, really sort of building up the detail. And I am going to add a sprinkle of salt to the damp paint in the foreground and middle ground. I'm going to allow the salt to dry naturally, so it creates lovely light textures, as you can see here. So for step 5, remove the masking fluid and then paint details on the cornflowers, white flowers, stems, and finish off with a spatter. So I'm using tape, the sticky side, to remove the masking fluid. You can use a putty rubber, an eraser, your thumb, a paper towel, whatever works best for you. And then I'm going to use an eraser to rub out pencil lines, especially the ones that you can see on the white flowers. So it looks lovely, doesn't it, with all those lovely sort of white marks left by the masking fluid. So I'm mixing up Permanent Rose and Ultramarine, about 60-40, to make a blue violet. So I usually start with the blue. I did start with the pink there, but start with the blue and add a pinch of pink. I am painting wet on dry with my size 6 round brush, rinsing the brush and then softening the marks that I made. So I'm going to paint each individual cornflower separately, painting the sort of bottom part of the cornflower where it's darkest, rinse my brush, take the excess water off on the side of the pot, and then dilute and soften and blend so you don't get any awkward hard edges, but keep the top part of the cornflower lighter. And if you pull up too much paint, you can always use a paper towel to lift off the paint if you lose the light on the top of the cornflowers. You can do this one by one, or you can paint a few and then soften and blend with a clean damp brush. As I move into the middle ground, the marks get a little bit bigger and a little bit sort of stronger in tonal value as well. Again, this is to create the depth in the painting. It's a really good way of practicing your watercolours here, sort of building up these stronger tonal values, working sort of wet on dry and then rinsing your brush and diluting the paint on the paper. So I'm mixing up now a little bit of Paynes grey with the pink and the blue, just to make some darker marks here in the foreground, but also to paint some centres in some of the flowers, damp into damp, just to give them a little bit more detail. Again, this is to create more sort of depth in the painting. I've mixed up a little bit of raw sienna, Hansa Yellow Deep, and a pinch of cerulean. I'm stippling some of the white flowers here and there using my size 6 brush, working wet on dry, just to add a little bit of warmth just here and there. I can see it in the photograph and I thought it just needed it to add some more interest to the white wildflowers. So I'm going to mix up some darker stems here, just to kind of give a little bit of structure to some of the flowers. So just painting this wet on dry with my size 6 round brush. Just mixing up a little bit of the blue with some of the yellow there, and just sort of painting some of these marks just wet on dry, just to give a little bit of an impression. I've squeezed out some white gouache and I am using my size 6 brush to spatter this slightly watered down white paint onto the surface there, around the sort of white wildflowers, but in between some of the cornflowers as well, to add light and textures and of course a little bit of sparkle. And it's a great way of stopping yourself from overworking as well. Once I spatter, I don't seem to like going back into my paintings too much, especially when I spatter at the end. So I am removing the washi tape. It reveals a lovely white border and it does give you time to assess to see if you need to do any more to your painting, but I think I'll leave it there for now. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments section below. And if you'd like to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, where you'll get updates of my latest tutorials. And if you'd like to learn more about watercolour and get access to my exclusive videos, why not think about joining my Patreon membership? Details about the membership can be found in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.